Hello everybody and welcome back to the Fortress of Solitude. Today we're going to be checking out Absolute Superman issue 13 by Jason Aaron, Rafa Sandoval and Ulysses Areola. War comes to Smallville this issue as 6 weeks in the past, tanks roll through the small American town, but the town's inhabitants don't back down, grabbing their rifles and weapons and confronting the tanks head on in Main Street, adhering to the town's motto, ad astra per aspera, or through hardship to the stars. They're not going to let anyone take what is theirs. Before any of them are trampled by the tanks though, Superman blasts through the crowd, upending the tanks and pushing them back down Main Street. I'm liking how Aaron is relating Smallville's motto to Superman. This is a Cal who's been through immense pain and hardships, but has pushed through it all to finally find a place on Earth, and that place is the sun-drenched prairies of Smallville. Cal calls for Sol to use every crystal in his being to fortify Smallville, and the sentient cape is happy to do it, but in doing so it means defying his primary objective of protecting Kal-El, the mission Jor-El and Lara instilled upon him. Superman heads for the arriving choppers as he tells Sol that his parents are dead but Smallville isn't. He overrides Sol's programming, telling him to be Smallville's cape, since he can take care of himself. The cape leaves him behind as Lois and Jimmy prep Lana and the others, telling them that the Peacemaker armor is weakest at the knees and to aim for the tail rotors of the choppers, while Lazarus cuts phone and internet lines and Peacemakers parachute down into the town and blockade highways and hiking trails. I'm liking all these little details that show just how efficient Lazarus is at subjugating a group of people. This is something they've done countless times over the Earth, and we've seen it throughout this book. Big difference here is that this is supposedly their own people that they're doing it to. There's also a bit of added viciousness to it as Raz tells them to carpet bomb ranches and cornfields, starting large wildfires, cutting off their power, all in an effort to draw Superman out, but still the hero and townfolk are giving them a run for their money. In the present, Lois and Jimmy hold up in the Smallville Public Broadcasting Studio, finding Lazarus-built concentration camps in the middle of the city. Thanks to Sol creating a satellite dish on the roof, they're able to relay all of this news out to the world, revealing what Ra's al Ghul and Lazarus have been up to, and how if it wasn't for Superman, Smallville would have been wiped from the map 6 weeks ago. They send out a media packet filled with pictures and videos of Superman helping Smallville before they have to leave, wanting people to spread the word of the Superman. This is kind of great seeing Lois and Jimmy falling into their classic journalist roles here, using it as it should be to expose the truth of what Lazarus really is. It's been really rewarding seeing how Lois has gone from this staunch Lazarus supporter to learning all of their lies and how they manipulate everything and try and, silence those who go against them. And now she refuses to be told that her truths aren't real, and now she's being made into a full-on freedom fighter to get those truths out there. Lois and Jimmy race from the building and meet with Lana, taking off on their horses as the station building is blown up by Lazarus mechs. Lois asks if Sol can help them, but the Cape can't since he can't divert resources from anywhere else, hoping that they can just ride faster. The trio race towards a passageway Sol opens for them for the tunnels, but he knows what he must do to protect said tunnels, and if they don't make it, he'll seal it up. Lois understands that no matter what happens to them, Sol is not to let any peacemakers into the tunnels. The day before in the tunnels, Jimmy compliments himself on his new photography skills, citing how he never used to be any good at it, but now, since this war broke out, he's become quite the photographer. Lois doesn't really care about his story, instead telling Jimmy about how Ra's is moving to phase 3 of his occupation handbook, knowing all about his plans thanks to acing the class in the Lazarus Academy. I love little details like this, that even in this universe where Lois is only just starting to find her role as a teller of the truth and as a journalist, she is still a terrible speller, having to ask Jimmy how many letters are in certain words when those words don't have those letters in them at all. It seems like it's just a constant across the multiverse. Jimmy asks Lois when she first knew something was wrong with the world and she was working for the wrong side, but Lois figures that it was the same time Jimmy figured out he was also working for the wrong side. So currently in these books, we're pretty much, with every Absolute book, We're with a character that's starting to realize that, oh yeah, there is something undeniably wrong with this world and nothing fits together well. And there's just so much chaos and violence and death. And what I like Aaron is doing here is with Jimmy and Lois, two people from both ends of the spectrum, one from a militaristic Lazarus, another from a supposed set of freedom fighters, the Omega Men, is despite how they are both from, varying different worldviews, they both came to the same conclusion that something is wrong with this world. It's great seeing them and the universe sort of shift around them so that Lois and Jimmy can begin to inhabit their more classical roles within the Superman mythos, while also giving them something new and interesting to chew on as well. In the present, Lana is blasted off her horse by the Peacemaker mechs, and while Jimmy and Lois return to pick her up, Sol tells him that he must close the tunnels. Lois tells him to do it as she thinks about how Jimmy and her thought that they were crazy for what they were believing. Then everything changed the day they met Superman. Kal arrives and destroys the Peacemaker mechs, saving the trio from death as Lois remembers how she didn't even know who or what Superman was or where he came from. But she knew in the strange upside down world she lives in that his side was the right side and she had to be on it. When a Superman origin story is told, writers are sure to point out just how much an effect this guy flying around in a red cape has on Metropolis or the world. Usually it's a big game changer, like something shifts in the world and we get to start seeing more heroes, or like there's that power dynamic shift. We see that in stuff like Secret Origin and Birthright. Aaron is doing that here, but I love just the emphasis he is putting on Superman turning up isn't just affecting all of these people and making them stand up and fight, but the literal fabric of the world is starting to change. There's this huge shift happening here where someone with actual powers is fighting against those who have all of the power and is making a change, is making an actual dent in what they are doing and actually making them work for it for a change. The Moses allegory is also in full effect, especially now as he's literally guiding these people from Smallville through a hardship and shepherding them out to safety. So all this Superman stuff I love to see in early stories for the character. 5 weeks prior in the tunnels, Superman tells the gathered people that they are a mile below the old salt mines, further than Lazarus weapons can reach, and he dug the tunnels himself, adding water wells, some solar-powered electricity, and other amenities, while Sol's sunstone crystals will act as fortifications. I like how Kal is using his family's skill as a miner to actually help people. Where Jor was a miner, he was helping people too, but the mines themselves were deadly. They would kill people. But here Kal has turned that into something else, something that can actually help people. He's building on the experiences of his family and turning them into something helpful and protective, not something destructive like they were on Krypton. Kal promises that they will be safe there and the people thank him, but before the people can properly praise him, he tries to excuse himself. Lois stops Kal before he leaves, and we get a neat bit of narration from Kal where he knows he'll never be one of the people of Earth, but finds Lois different from the others. He finds her scarier and he feels like he can never hide from her. Now, I don't take this as in that he's scared of what she can do or scared of what she can be for him. It's more he finds Lois disarming in that she isn't really scared of him. He's maybe getting feelings he doesn't quite understand about her because he hasn't had those experiences yet. Again, you got to remember this is kind of an emotionally stunted Kal-El. He hasn't had those interactions with people, so he doesn't really know what love is in the sense of a romance or something like that. And I think that's what he's kind of feeling. He's kind of starting to feel those sort of bubbling emotions, and he doesn't know how to properly express that. And I like that that comes through in Jason Aaron's narration here. It's a thoroughly fascinating take on early Superman and Lois dynamics that kind of in a way takes a lot of the power away from Superman, since in their early dynamics usually he's the one sort of in charge, more or less, for better lack of a word, in their relationship in terms of how things are dealt with between them two. But here it's all Lois. Lois is trying to get through to this guy and trying to be someone for him and everything, and I quite like that. I really enjoy that. That's really damn cool. Kal tries to leave the tunnels so he can go and stop Lazarus from attacking their water treatment plants and poisoning them, but Lois tells him that while he works, so are they. And the story her and Jimmy are constructing will involve Superman, and after it's out, there'll be no hiding from the world, so he needs to be prepared to show who he is. Kal is unsure who he is as a man interrupts their talk, telling the hero his name is Jed Cochran, and he was the mail carrier for the Kents for years, and the man admits that he was the one who reported Kal to Lazarus when he first appeared on the Kent farm all those years ago, shocking Kal. Jed believes that what Lazarus told him about enemies among them and thought that he was doing the right thing, but now he has seen the good Superman has been doing for them, and he knows he was wrong, and his family and himself would not be alive if it wasn't for the hero. He apologizes for being wrong, wanting to thank the hero, but Cal doesn't want to shake the man's hand. Jed leaves, understanding why Cal wouldn't want to forgive him for what he did. He just wanted to say his piece. Cal thinks for a moment about what he could do to the man, thinking about breaking his bones, burning him alive for what he did to the Kents, but stops himself, telling Jed that he's got a sharp eye and they could use that on guard duty. He reminds himself not to crush the man's hand as he shakes Jed's hand, telling him that all the people there are Jed's family now and he has to help protect them. Man, what a great little moment that showcases just how far Cal has come, since there was a time where he probably would have reacted in anger to this man, even broke his hand there, but it's very clear he's becoming more comfortable being seen as a hero and being around people, despite what he keeps telling himself that he'll never fit in. Thinking this makes him tell Lois to tell the people whatever she wants. It doesn't really matter since he's only there to bleed. Outside of the town, Raish and Talia survey the sunstone crystal shield around the town. Talia thought that her father would have a way to neutralize the cape, but it doesn't seem to be working. Raish tells her to have some patience as it will be ready very soon, but Talia notes that Brainiac is absent from this battle when his kryptonite could actually be helping them there, but Raish says the alien is otherwise occupied and he has his own plans for the remaining kryptonite and will need to use other methods to get inside. Talia knows what this means, fetching the God box so the hand of Omega can guide them. So I can't wait to find out what the hell the deal is with these God, Mother, Father boxes in this absolute universe. Like, do they mostly work like how we've seen them work in the main universe? Are they, boom tube stuff? Things related to New Genesis and Apocalypse? Or because this is a Darkseid created world, are they more powerful and are actual literal, like as Raish calls it, a God box? Since Raish is kind of using it like a sacred religious relic, like he found it somewhere and he's realized its power. It's kind of like, the Ark of the Covenant in Raiders of the Lost Ark. We've had neat little teasers of them so far, but I'm kind of wanting more than teasers now, and I just want to know just a little bit more about them. In the present, Cal fights his way through a myriad of Peacemaker mechs, which he notes are getting stronger thanks to the Father Box, and thanks to Lazarus creating storms to block out the sun, meaning he's getting weaker. But since Lazarus doesn't sleep, neither does Superman. The hero blasts through the mechs with a powerful heat vision, leaving the Peacemakers to escape their burning cockpits. He douses them with his freeze breath, telling the men that there are women, children, the elderly, and people with medical conditions in the tunnels, and all they are doing is dropping bombs on them. He lets the injured men flee, telling them to head 3 miles to the Ross pig farm and sit in the slop and think about what they have done until he comes by next. Superman feels weaker thanks to the heat vision blast, wanting to get above the clouds to get some sun, but there is still more work to be done in his never-ending battle with Lazarus. Lois knows that he can't keep this up since everyone can see he's exhausted and even Superman has his limits. Cal asks if she has had any response to her broadcasts and if anyone is coming to help, but Lois doesn't think so. But the world will know what's going on in Smallville no matter what happens there, and will know about Superman and his story. Her little speech is cut off when suddenly Soul's crystals begin to break down, and Cal doesn't understand what's going on, but Soul says that something has infiltrated his system. He apologizes to Cal as he shatters apart, turning into a deep purple color as it's revealed that Brainiac has infiltrated Soul's systems and taken him over, proclaiming that Soul is gone, and now Cal has nothing to hold him back. So I talked about over the last couple of issues about how Soul would eventually break bad at some point. I theorized that maybe he could split off from Cal, kind of adopt his own persona and become maybe like the eradicator of this universe at some point, but I didn't see him becoming possessed by Brainiac of all characters. It's a neat little twist and keeps Brainiac involved in the action while hitting Cal in a sensitive spot, taking his, his last family member, his brother, away from him. Lois and the others try and get into the tunnels to evacuate them, but Brainiac stops them. But Superman apologizes to Soul as he begins to smash the crystals apart. However, he's blasted by Lazarus's Father Box infused tanks. More doubt begins to creep into Superman's head, knowing that he's already gotten too close to the people of Smallville and they will never accept him, and he should have stayed hidden since he showed the world something he cared about, his cape, and they killed it. Aaron wonderfully parallels this with Lois's own narration about wanting Cal to actually tell them something about who he is, where he comes from, even if he knows where he comes from and how they can help him. Cal does believe that the world needs a Superman, but it's not him, as Talia hits him with another tank shell, allowing Raish to confront the downed Superman. Raish tells Kal that the final judgment has come, and he reveals a giant kryptonite sword, demanding Kal kneel before him in the blood of his loved ones and beg to be his son. Raish getting that classic Zod line was a lot of fun, but also, holy shit, he's got a giant kryptonite buster sword too. I love that that's like a running thing in this universe, just giant weapons, giant swords, giant axes. It's very cool. I love that that's like a running motif throughout this entire universe. The final fight between him and Kal can't come soon enough, and it's just happening in the next issue, so I can't wait. Absolute Superman issue 13 was another just stellar issue. Jason Aaron continues to explore some fantastic territory with a Kal-El out of his depth and truly cut off from his humanity, yet it never gets into all the mopey or detached like certain other iterations that go that route do. I love the focus on Smallville and the people in the town fighting against Lazarus, and how Superman, despite thinking that he's a harbinger of death, is bringing inspiration to the people and giving them a chance in the world literally designed to swallow up hope and love. I'm going to give this issue a 10 out of 10.